Hey guys, the Explorer 4 here, Horrorboy 465. Welcome back to some more reviews. And today I'm chilling over here at Colton's house. And I figured that since I haven't done a video in a while, I would make this video because, first of all, I'd be wrapping up my reviews on the Hatchet films. And second of all, just wanted to make it because, like I said, I haven't been making too many videos lately. I've been kind of busy. Things have been really hectic, lately, and I really haven't had too much time to record any videos. But I did want to do this review for you guys to wrap up my reviews on the Hatchet films with my review of Hatchet 3. And this film came out in 2013, gets a 5.7. This time it wasn't directed by Adam Green, it was actually directed by his friend, BJ McDonnell, who is actually, I think, the camera guy for the first two movies. I know for sure the first movie, but I'm not too sure about the second movie. I know that he's also mainly known just for like doing camera work in like Battle Los Angeles, and I think he did like a couple of I don't know, I want to say Marvel, but I'm not too sure about that. Yeah, he did Avengers: Age of Ultron and Jack Reacher, did the camera and stuff like that for those movies. This is actually his very first movie. And I believe he hasn't really made a feature-length film since. But to be honest, this movie has a better atmosphere than Hatchet 2. I think it's well shot, has a great look to it, has a great mood to the swamp. The swamp is back in this film. It's better than ever. It just looks great. The movie is shot very, very well. And there's just a lot of technicality things, I can say it, in this movie that is very well done by B.J. McDonnell. You can definitely tell that it's not really an Adam Green movie because, Adam Green is basically still involved. He wrote it and produced it and stuff like that. So you basically still do get an Adam Green film, but you can definitely tell that B.J. McDonnell, brought his own look to it, brought his own feel to the movie. It's different than the other movies in a good way. It has a different energy to it. Now, this movie is my favorite of the sequels. Of course, my favorite of all the movies is the first movie. But out of the sequels, this is my favorite. It still does have some problems, but mainly I think it's a little bit more better than Hatchet 2. Because mainly you get the gore effects in this movie. This movie is very gory. And you get some really good kills, but you also get a lot of great action in this movie as well. It's definitely a great finale to the franchise. Lots of explosions, lots of gore, lots of really good gunfire and action. So you get the gore stuff, get the kill stuff, but you also do get a lot of really good explosions and action scenes. Richard Crowley in this movie, Kane Hodder playing Richard Crowley in this movie, playing Hatchet Face. Kane Hodder did a great job. Great return for Kane Hodder in the franchise, and he did a great job playing Richard Crowley. I like the new design for Richard Crowley in this movie. He has like a new, darker look to him. Basically, the same looking design, but it just looks a little bit more grittier and darker. Really enjoyed that. And before I get into anything else, to get into the story of the movie, it starts off literally right from where the previous movie ended. You got Mary Beth Dunstan. She's bloodied up. She shoots Victor Kyle in the face, pushes him on a giant chainsaw and saws him in half. Very, very gory stuff. Grabs his scalp, goes back to the police station, and of course, when she gets there, she gets arrested because she's covered in blood, has a scalp in her hand. The police freak out. They arrest her, and they pretty much go to Honey Island Swamp, and the first dispatch is wiped out. You get that scene where Victor Crowley comes back to life, and he's like ripping jaws out and pushing people's faces on the trees, like really, really crazy, gory stuff. And
This movie sounds interesting.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty gory, and I'll show you it because Colton hasn't probably seen these movies yet, so I'll bring him over one day and let him check them out. But they're really, really gory movies, which is awesome. But pretty much a second dispatch is sent in to find out what happened to the first group of people that went in, and they find a massacre. They find bodies everywhere, and it's pretty much taking place within the swamp, but you also got this backstory, like, that I thought was kind of weird to be in a Hatchet movie, because it's like, I guess Hatchet Face's dad's ashes have to be poured on the Hatchet Face, and that's pretty much, they think, how they're going to kill him. And I don't know about that plot, and you get a lot of Danielle Harris. She does a great job in this movie, but you get a lot of her like in a jail cell and not doing much, which they could have fixed that. But the fact that we got like a second storyline going on, I don't know, and the storyline in general, I just didn't really think was the greatest. With the whole finding Hatchet Face's father, Mr. Crowley's ashes, and having to use them on Mr. Crowley to stop him once and for all. I don't know about that. It's not really bad. It just kind of feels weird being a Hatchet movie. Just the idea of being in this kind of movie, and also this movie is a much more serious tone film. And there's bits of comedy in this movie, but a lot of it is serious. And it's kind of odd because the first two movies they're gory, they're in some ways creepy, but they're also fun movies. They're fun slasher flicks. Here, it's fun, but there's not a lot of comedy in this movie, and it's not necessarily a bad thing because I actually like that it's going to a serious tone with bits of comedy here and there. I actually like that, but it does feel a little odd being this kind of movie because usually they're pretty fun to watch with like comedy and gore and all that stuff. But it's new. It gave it a new feel, so I can definitely say that. But the finale of the movie's great. The pretty much the last half of the movie is just fantastic. I mean, you got gore effects, you got people getting ripped apart by Richard Crowley and Daniel Harris, and you actually got Caroline Williams, who's also the wife to Zach Galligan in this movie. Zach Galligan's the guy from uh, Gremlins. He's actually the guy from Gremlins, the lead guy in Gremlins. He does a great job in this movie. You got Perry Shin coming back playing Andrew in this movie, pretty much playing a paramedic guy. Does a great job as well. You got Derek Mears, Jason from Friday the Remake, coming into this character as Hawes. And you got Snyderman, played by Cody Blue Snyder. I really enjoyed him. I believe he was in the Hobbit movies, if I'm not mistaken. But he was just great in this movie. Really enjoyed his character. You also got Sean Whalen from, I believe he was from People Under the Stairs, and I believe he was also in Laid to Rest. Yeah, he played Roach in People Under the Stairs. He was also in Laid to Rest. Really enjoyed that movie as well. And he does a great job in these movies. Fun character, fun time. Kane Hodder, Richard Crowley does a great job. Danielle Harris in this movie from Laid to Rest 2 and Hatchet 2 and Halloween 4 and 5. So you got a really good cast this movie. I think that's what's really good about this movie, like this trilogy, is that they have really good cameos and they got a really good cast. You also got a cameo by, try to see here. I forgot his name, but you get a cameo by him. He's from the Devil's Rejects. I'm gonna look it up here in a second, but you do get a cameo by him. I believe he's the guy. Yeah, he's the guy who was Thomas Crowley. I think he's like a relative of Thomas Crowley. Sid Haig, that's who it is. Sid Haig. He's got a cameo in this movie. Sort of as this like racist guy. It's kind of random. The comedy wasn't the greatest in that scene, but Sid Haig's in the movie. And the finale is just great. Lots of gore, lots of action. You got rocket launcher action. You get this one scene where it's actually Snyderman's death scene where like he gets his arms ripped off and his head pushed into the mud. Like really crazy stuff, and Mr. Crowley is just ripping people to pieces. You got Danielle Harris at the end of the movie. Her and Caroline Williams go to the place. A lot of the characters are dead, ripped apart, and she uses the ash of Mr. Crowley. Mr. Crowley melts, and she shoots him and blows him up. And the thing about this movie, though, is like the very end of the movie is like it ends very abruptly. So it's like it's the end of the trilogy, but it ends very abruptly. Like you're like kind of like, did she live? Did she die? Because she got stabbed by the crowd on a tree. So it's kind of like, did she live? Did she die? I don't know. I know that most people would actually prefer Hatchet 2 over this movie a little bit more. For me, it'd be Hatchet 3 because, like I said, you get the gore, but you also get action. You also get explosions. You got a great finale. You still have a great cast. You still have great acting. I thought it was, I thought that movie was better shot than Hatchet 2. I thought it looked better than Hatchet 2. Just for me, Hatchet 2 looks very, very cheap. And, the set design, the atmosphere, it all looks very, very low budget and cheap. But and this movie looks like it's got a very decent budget to it. It's nicely shot, it's nicely lit, has a decent script behind it. Also, I don't really like the opening song of the movie because Hatchet One had Marilyn Manson's "This is the new S," this is the new SHIT. I don't really want to say it, but got that song. You got Hatchet Two, that great opening song. But in this movie, I don't know. I didn't really get behind it. I believe it was called Genocide. I didn't like the song that much. It wasn't really the best pick for the movie's opening song, but I don't know. It wasn't really terrible. I just didn't really know what to think about it. But Hatchet 3 is still a great movie, even though it's not as good as Hatchet 1. It's still a great sequel and a fun time, and it's definitely much more of a serious film. But I really enjoyed it for what it was. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my reviews on the Hatchet movies, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.